The JoLynn Braley Show, episode 39, Weight Loss Motivation. Why doesn't it last? Hello and welcome. This is JoLynn Braley, weight loss mindset expert, certified master NLP practitioner, certified master professional coach, and founder of the Inner Self Diet. And this is the JoLynn Braley Show. Join me on today's show as I go beyond the food to the real issue. What is the real issue? The real issue is your mindset. Yes, your mindset is 90% of your current problem. If you already know how to eat healthy and exercise, but you're not doing it, that right there tells you that you have a mindset problem. Your mindset is also 90% of the solution if you crave permanent success with your weight. If you would love to leave all of your ongoing, never-ending food and weight struggles and battles and frustrations and pain behind you. If that's what you want, then your mindset must shift at a core level. It's not going to work to apply little positive thinking or little affirmations on top of a problem that is so big and so old. For all of my clients and for myself, this is a problem that started when you were a child, and I am going to bet that for 95% of emotional eaters, binge eaters, stuffers, sugar addicts, food addicts, yo-yo dieters, all of these unhealthy behaviors, 95% at minimum, this problem started when you were a kid. Have you ever wondered why those little food diets have never fixed what ails you? Why is it that those little food diets have never stopped your emotional eating? They've never stopped your food obsessions. They've never stopped your feeling that you're not good enough. Why is it that these little food diets have never done that for you? Well, for one thing, a food diet is only 10% of the solution of getting the body of your dreams. For another thing, a food diet isn't supposed to fix the why you became overweight in the first place. Until you heal the root of why you began abusing food and abusing yourself and abusing your body, until you heal the root of the why you became overweight in the first place, there is no food diet that you can ever do that will give you permanent success with your weight. And a food diet isn't supposed to do that. A food diet is just a blueprint that tells you how to eat healthy, and that's all it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to heal why you started behaving the way you do. It's not supposed to do any of that. And this is why 95% of dieters fail. It's because you're only addressing 10% of the problem. You're not addressing what is 90% of your problem. This is also why Weight Watchers has a 3% success rate. And my step-by-step proven system that I coach and mentor my clients through, which is the Inner Self Diet, it has a 100% success rate, meaning that every person who becomes a client and they do the steps, they get the results of struggle-free permanent success with their weight. Now, of course, you could enroll in the Inner Self Diet and have no success, and here's how. Don't do the work. Don't do the steps. And how is that any different than anything in life? How is that any different than if you wanted to build a new house and you knew how to build a house and you bought all the building materials, you bought all the wood, all the nails, everything you needed, and now you've got a pile of wood and nails there and you never pick up the hammer and hammer the first nail? What are the results you'll get? You'll still just have a pile of wooden nails there, won't you? There's not going to be a house because you're not taking any action with the tools that you have and with the materials you have. It's the same thing with the inner self diet. And every single person who has graduated the inner self diet and has done the steps, they have all succeeded. How is that possible? How is that possible that the inner self diet always works when Weight Watchers gets a 3% success rate? It's possible because you were not born an overeater. You were not born an emotional eater. You were not born a compulsive overeater. You were not born obsessed with food. You were not born a food addict. You were born just perfect, just fine. If you have any experience with babies, then you will know that if you try to put food in a baby's mouth when that baby is full, it's going to turn its head away. Or if you somehow force that food into that baby's mouth thinking that you know more than that baby does, when actually the baby knows a hell of a lot more than you do, the baby knows when it's full. The baby knows when it's hungry. But if you insist on forcing food into that baby's mouth, it's either going to spit it out or vomit it out. Now, if you keep going and over time you keep forcing food into that baby's mouth when it's not hungry, eventually it will relent and it will take the food in, and now you've just started a problem for that kid. Now, this is not to blame you or to blame your parents. I'm sure that if you have ever done this to a baby, that you thought you were doing the right thing. Just like your parents thought that they were doing the right thing, and any adults thought they were doing the right thing when they told you that you needed to go on a diet or you better watch what you're eating, you're going to get a big butt. All of these issues started when you were a kid, not necessarily just when you were a tiny baby, but what I'm explaining to you here is the fact that if you could have continued as you were when you were born, you wouldn't be listening to me right now. You wouldn't have a weight problem. You knew how to eat when you were born. You didn't have an issue. And now you have spent so many years struggling with food, with your weight. You've got a body image. You have actually images and movies that are running in your head that you're not even aware of. You have no idea what it is that you don't know right now that is stopping you from losing weight and keeping it off. And all of this stuff has just continued to build over time, and it just keeps getting bigger, and that's why you've never been able to get out of it on your own. That's why you're listening to me right now. And obviously, a food diet is not going to fix this. You have to be fit, slender, healthy, and trim, and thin, and strong on the inside before you can do that on the outside without any struggle, and before you can do it on the outside and maintain it. As long as you're fat on the inside, you have to be fat on the outside. In fact, it is universal law. One of the universal laws that all of us live under is the inner and the outer always match. You cannot change universal laws. They are bigger than all of us. You either learn how to work with them, or you keep fighting them and you never get the results you want. And it's all your choice. You can do whatever you want to do. By the way, if you really are fed up and frustrated and you would love to have the results that the graduates of the Inner Self Diet have, for example, Barb is one of the graduates of the Inner Self Diet, and she dropped 50 pounds without any struggle, and she wrote that, here's what she said, I'll just read it to you. She said, "Before I hired JoLynn as my mentor and coach, I was frustrated by my inconsistent ability to do what I knew I must do in order to lose weight. In other words, to eat sensibly and exercise." So she already knew how to do all that, which is how it is for all of my clients. "I felt discouraged and I doubted that I could ever lose weight and keep it off. Today, after doing the steps to get a weight loss mindset, my mindset is completely different. I have hope and the tools I need to accomplish my goals. Not only weight loss, but all of my goals. I've already released 50 pounds and I'm down 3 sizes, struggle-free." She wrote that my weight loss efforts are no longer a source of frustration for me. Food is not my enemy, it is my ally. It is important to know that my transformations occurred from within as a result of the inner self steps I took and the tools I acquired in JoLynn's step-by-step system. It occurs internally first, and the external follows. You cannot force yourself with a 10% solution to become what 90% of you is not. When 90% of you is FAT, when it's fat, when you have a mindset based in fear-attracting thoughts, you have to be that on the outside. You can't fight that and change that 90% with a 10% solution of a little food diet. It's just not going to work. And if you would love to actually have the results of struggle-free permanent success with your weight, your first step is to apply for a complimentary weight loss discovery session, and you can do that at discovery-session.com. So let's look at this episode's topic, which is weight loss motivation. Why doesn't it last? That is a great question. Why is it that you're constantly searching for weight loss motivation, and then you might find some motivation and it lasts for a day, maybe it lasts for a week, maybe you've even gotten it to last for a month, maybe even a little longer, but eventually it always goes away. Why is that? Why doesn't that motivation last? Why do you always rubber band back to the same place that you were before? Why is it that you always there's always that quote-unquote something that happens? The times that you have lost weight, there's always something that happens and all of your old behaviors come back and you just springboard back to where you were. Why is that? Well, it's what I was sharing with you a minute ago, that as long as on the inside you are fat, you have to be fat on the outside. When you have a mindset grounded in fear-attracting thoughts, that matches an overeating outside and overweight outside, struggle on the outside, all of that matches up. The good news is that once you get a weight loss mindset on the inside, then the outside, eating healthy, exercising regularly, all of that just becomes a piece of cake because you've already got the 90% of the puzzle on the inside. And so then the outside has to follow. It has to follow, and it always does. That's why the inner self diet always works. That's another reason. Another reason the inner self diet always works is because at the bottom of it, it's all based in universal laws. You cannot change universal laws. It's not going to happen. But if you learn how to work with them and you get in alignment with them and with yourself, nothing can stop you. So, weight loss motivation. What is all of this about? Why doesn't it last? First, we need to look at what motivation is. Motivation is it's an outside force. Motivation is an outside force. It's you trying to cheerlead yourself into losing weight. You look at the pictures on Facebook, you find Facebook pages that have all of these pictures of these fit women and these messages that say, just do it. Nike says, just do it. And then you go on Pinterest and you look at weight loss boards and you get all of your motivation goosed up and you say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Or, God forbid, you make a New Year's resolution like so many people do, millions of people do, and it's always gone by the second week of January. I know someone who has been a member at a gym for over 7 years, just goes all the time, at least 5 days a week, and he said that every year, January, there's an influx of new members, and then it's crowded, all of the regulars, it's like they don't really like it. But they hang in there, the regulars hang in there because they know that by the time the second week of January comes, all those people will be gone. If let's say that there's 50 new people that join, there might be one person who still is there at the end. If there's anyone at the end. But he also said that throughout the year, if there's someone new who moves into the area and they join the gym, they just keep coming because that's their lifestyle. It's not a force. They're not looking for motivation. They're not looking for some kind of a force to make them be something that they are not on the inside. So motivation can never last. It is an outside force. This is why it's never lasted for you. Instead, here's what you want to be looking for and getting, and the only way you'll get it is to become what you want to be on the inside. You become what you want on the outside. You've got to become that on the inside first, and that's how you're going to get what I'm going to share with you right now. What you want to be looking for instead of motivation is inspiration. Inspired action. Inspiration comes from within yourself. Inspiration. Take a pen and a paper. If you have been listening to the JoLynn Braley Show regularly, you know that you always want to bring pen and paper because I give you questions to ask yourself on each episode, and I highly recommend you write them down pen on paper. If all you do is listen to me, you'll get some kind of a benefit out of these podcasts, but nothing near the level that you'll get if you take a pen and put it in your hand and write on paper when I give you the questions to ask yourself, and then you write down the questions and then write down your answers. And then here's something for you to write down right now. Write down the word in, I-N, and then a space, spirit. In spirit. That is what inspired action is. Inspired action comes from within you. Inspired action needs no motivation. Inspired action is a result of alignment. Alignment means that the inner matches what you want on the outside. What does inspired action feel like? How do you know that you're taking inspired action? Inspired action feels like action that wild horses could not stop you from taking. Now, interestingly enough, look at how you feel when you can't stop yourself from overeating and you can't stop yourself from stuffing yourself with foods that you know are adding fat on your body. That is inspired action, actually. Now, it's not helping you, it's not healthy, but it's inspired from within because that action matches what you are on the inside. So that's how you know what inspired action feels like. Wild horses could not stop you from taking it. Now just imagine if you could feel such strong inspiration from within to go buy healthy foods and cook them up for yourself, to get out there and walk for 30 to 60 minutes every day or 5 days a week. If you felt so inspired from within to go to the gym, if you like working out at the gym, if you couldn't stop yourself from living a healthy lifestyle, what would that be like for you? Instead of right now, you can't stop yourself from overeating. You need to be looking for inspiration, inspired action, which only comes from within. Forget about looking for motivation because motivation never lasts. But the only way that you're going to get inspired from within is you must get in alignment on the inside. What is alignment? Alignment means that your inside matches what you want on the outside. Alignment is also you matching up with you. You becoming in alignment with who you really are. And this is a much bigger topic, but all of my clients in the Inner Self Diet understand this. They don't just understand it, they experience it because words don't teach. In fact, that's something that you could write down right now. Words do not teach. Only life experience teaches. So even as you listen to these podcasts here on the JoLynn Braley Show, much of what I share with you, you are not going to understand it unless you ever do the Inner Self Diet. Because you can have an intellectual hearing and intellectual understanding, but until you have the experience of it, you have no idea what I'm even talking about. And when it comes to alignment, you must take action, specific action steps, not action steps to eat different or exercise different, but inner self action steps so that you get in alignment with who you really are. The bigger part of you, the part of you that never dies, the part of you that knows what you really want, the part of you that is spirit, the part of you that, remember you wrote down in spirit, inspired action. There's more that you don't know, that you don't even realize you don't know right now, which is why working with a highly skilled mentor and coach is so valuable. You have been so caught up in what the diet industry has told you that you just need to do a food diet that you have gotten so off track you don't even realize what is really going on. If you would take action to heal the root of why you became overweight in the first place and how you got so off track when you were totally on track when you were born, if you would just take action to do that, you'd never look for another food diet again. In fact, if there were to be enough food diets on this planet to service everyone, there would have to be enough for the population. And that is why I do not teach my clients how to eat. I don't teach them how to exercise. I teach them how to get in alignment with themselves on the inside so that they become that fit, slender person on the inside. And then it's very easy for them to take the actions on the outside to drop the fat and keep it off. Just like Dave, he's another client of mine. He lost 90 pounds and he's from Indianapolis. He said, no one would know that I'm dieting because I'm not. I've changed my mindset and thinking, and it's all become an exciting part of the journey. He became the strong, slender man on the inside. Even when he was 90 pounds overweight, on the inside, he was already where he wanted to be. He already was the Dave who was 90 pounds lighter. He was that on the inside. But you couldn't tell that from the outside because you'd look at him and you'd say, oh, well, he's 90 pounds overweight. That's not true. On the inside, he already was the Dave that he wanted to be. And then his body caught up. The body's not going to drop 90 pounds overnight. If that's what you want, don't listen to the JoLynn Braley show because I can't offer you that, and I would never offer anybody that. The only way you could get that is through surgery, and that's not going to change your mindset. Actually, I've even worked with clients who have done lap band or I don't know what the other name is. They did that surgery, that shrinks your stomach, and that was Laura from Florida who had that done, and it didn't even help her because you can continue to overeat. You could stretch that stomach or whatever's left in there. You can stretch that back out. It doesn't, doing surgery, cutting up your body does nothing to change or to heal why you became so overweight in the first place. What does that do? Cutting up your body doesn't change the you that you are on the inside. It can't do that. Carney Wilson is another great example. She had weight loss surgery and then she became overweight again. You have to be in alignment on the inside. You have to get a weight loss mindset. You have to become the you on the inside that you want to be on the outside. You've got to do that part first if what you want is to, for the rest of your life, live naturally slender. Stop this madness about looking for new diets, looking for motivation. The reason you can't find motivation and the reason it never lasts is because you're still fat on the inside. You still have an FAT mindset. You're never going to find enough motivation that will last and will serve you as long as on the inside you're FAT. You've got a mindset grounded in fear attracting thoughts. How do you know that you have that mindset on the inside? Because you can't stop eating, because you can't stop emotional eating, you can't stop binge eating, you can't lose weight and keep it off, because you're unable to live a healthy lifestyle with ease and with joy, because living healthy and fit is not fun for you. That's how you know. So motivation is a waste of time to look for motivation. You want to be inspired from within, and that comes from inner alignment. That comes from doing the inner self work, doing those steps, and getting a weight loss mindset very quickly. And then that will make your journey of releasing the excess fat, it'll make it very easy for you to do. It's time for a commercial break, and this week's sponsor of the JoLynn Braley Show is 31 Days of Loving Yourself Thin.com. You can go to 31daysoflovingyourselfthin.com if what you'd like to do is take an immediate action step on your own towards making weight loss easier for yourself and actually learning how to love yourself thin. And you can find out more about this and take an immediate action on your own at 31daysoflovingyourselfthin.com. All right, questions to ask yourself. On each episode of the JoLynn Braley Show, I give you questions to ask yourself. Like I had shared with you a few minutes ago, if you've been listening for a while, you already know that you want to have pen and paper ready so that you can get the most out of this free podcast. Obviously, there's no substitute for actually working with a highly skilled mentor and coach who you actually speak with, and they help you make quick progress and get real-world results. We're not talking about therapy. I've had too many clients who have been in therapy for 5 years, 9 years, anything in that realm, and they never got the results that they got from the Inner Self Diet. Therapy is about talking, and it's not that therapy is bad, but if that's what you want, that's great. What I do with my clients is I get them the results that they want in the least amount of time possible. And it's not just that I get them the results. I teach them how to step into their own power so that they are getting these results for themselves. So these are some questions that you can ask yourself right now to get something out of this free podcast. The first question, you can write this down on paper. How many times have I looked for motivation only to have it go away? Exactly how many times have I looked for motivation only to have it go away? So there's 52 weeks in a year. If every week you're looking for motivation, then you already know that you're doing it at least 52 a year. Multiply that times 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been struggling with food and your weight. The way you know that is you write down on your paper right now your current age, and then write down underneath that the age you were when you first started having any kind of struggles with body image, with food, with weight. You probably were not even overweight back then when you were a kid, or maybe you were. You might have been. Either way, it's not hard for you to identify the age you were when all of this started. And even if you've had periods of your life where you thought that the problem was gone because you lost weight, maybe you kept it off for a year, maybe 2 years, if it came back and you're still struggling, then you know that you never healed the root of the problem in the first place. So you subtract those two numbers, subtract your current age, or subtract the age you were when this struggle started when you were a kid. Subtract that from your current age, get that number, circle it. That's how many years you've been in struggle with this problem. That's how old this problem is. Doesn't it make even more sense why you haven't been able to solve this on your own? I told myself for over 20 years that I could solve it on my own. I knew it was an inner problem. And actually I would tell myself, oh, well, I'll just take care of it after I lose weight. I'll do another food diet first. Well, guess where that got me? Didn't get me anywhere, except more struggle. Quickest and easiest way out of that is to work with a professional mentor and coach. Have somebody to hold your hand. Have somebody there who believes in you. Have someone there who can coach you and guide you and tell you that, hey, it's okay if you feel afraid to change. As long as you're willing to change and you're excited about changing, great. Let's do this now. And then you keep moving. You just keep taking the action steps that will give you the massive badass transformation on the inside so that you can finally just live healthy and fit on the outside, drop that fat and keep it off and just not have it be any big deal. All right, so you already answered the question of how many times have you looked for motivation only to have it go away. Next question to ask yourself, exactly what are my results that I have gotten from continuing to look for weight loss motivation? And make a list. Exactly what are my results that I have gotten from continuing to look for weight loss motivation? And make a whole list. Write down your weight. Write down all of your unhealthy behaviors, self-sabotage, negative self-talk, emotional eating, food obsessions, inability to resist ice cream, whatever your results are, write it all down. What exactly are the results I've gotten from continuing to search and hunt and forage for weight loss motivation? And then your third question, and of course if you have to pause this podcast, of course you are welcome to do that. Take your time writing down your questions and your answers. Third question, exactly how much longer am I willing to wait to be free from this annoying struggle? Exactly how much longer am I willing to wait to be free from this annoying struggle? Write it down. Maybe you're willing to do another diet, another food diet. Maybe you want to wait until after your next vacation because you want to be free to eat whatever you want to eat and gain 10 pounds and then come back and do another diet. You know what's funny is that if you had a weight loss mindset, you would never even think like that, and you would not feel deprived anyway. None of my clients feel deprived in how they eat. There is no deprivation when you're no longer fighting with the part of you that wants to eat the pizza and the part of you that would rather have salad. When you just want salad and you no longer want the pizza, where's the struggle? Where's the battle? Sophia, another graduate of the Inner Self Diet, she said that she thought the way things were going to work was that she would have an easy time picking the salad, but inside she'd really still want the fried chicken. And that's not the result she got. What she found was that, yeah, she really wanted the salad, but she didn't even want the fried chicken. So there's no fight there. There's no struggle. There's no more of that part of you that's saying, oh, I really want the fried chicken, and here I am eating the salad. You don't even want the fried chicken. So what is your answer to exactly how much longer am I willing to wait to be free from the struggle? If you wrote down a year, 5 years, 10 years, great. At least you're clear on where you're at and that you want to keep going down the path of doing more food diets. It's good to make a decision. It's good to have clarity. Make your decision and go with it. However, if your answer to that question is, I'm not willing to wait any longer, then you need to ask yourself, write down this question and write down your answer. What is my specific proven method to getting a weight loss mindset? What exactly is my specific proven method to getting a weight loss mindset? And you need to have a plan for that. And if your plan is to go buy another self-help book, then I recommend you ask yourself exactly how many, here you can just go ahead and write it down, exactly how many self-help books have I bought and never even read? Are you like most people who get a thrill out of buying the self-help book and thinking it's going to fix your problem and then you never even crack it open, or maybe you read a couple pages but you don't finish it? Another reason why working with a real live person who is certified, a certified professional coach, that would open up a whole new world of possibilities for you. And you'd stop searching for motivation. You'd stop going on Pinterest and on Facebook and looking at pictures to try to motivate yourself when you already know that that doesn't last. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those pictures or anything like that. It's just, what do you want? You know, what are the results you want? So if you are clear on the fact that it's not working for you to do this on your own, that you don't know how to get yourself out of the pickle you're in. If you did know, why haven't you already done it? Why wouldn't you have already done it? I'm sure that this is not the first time you've heard that your weight problems are an inner game problem. I'm sure you've heard this before. So why haven't you done it on your own if you knew how, right? So the purpose of these questions is to help you get what you want in your life, because you're never going to get struggle-free permanent weight loss by continuing to do the things that you've been doing that don't work. You know, how would that be any different? The quickest and easiest way to get freedom from your ongoing food and weight struggles is to work with a certified master professional coach who already has a system that works, who already has the solution, and you better make sure that whoever you're working with understands universal laws, because if you leave that out of the equation, you're pretty much, it's not that you can't have success, but you're not going to have permanent success. You can't leave out universal law because that's what we all are a part of. If you leave that out, then you're screwing yourself, because how can you leave out what is the most important ingredient and expect to succeed? How would that work? How would that work? Let's say you were building a house and you knew that there had to be a foundation, but you left the foundation out. What kind of a house would you end up with? Especially if you're building it on a sinkhole and there's no foundation. The foundation that you have to have in the solution to struggle-free permanent success with your weight is universal laws. Without that included, then you might as well just go do another food diet and keep going on that track. But I would never recommend that to one of my friends because I know the results they're going to get. You're not going to get to the end of this pain and frustration by taking that route. So the quickest way out is to just do the things that other people have already done. You can get started with that right now by going to discovery-session.com, fill out the application for a complimentary weight loss discovery session, get the heck on with your life, and, it's only for you though. That application is only for you if you really are serious about ending your ongoing struggles with food and your weight. If you just want to talk to me or ask me questions about the JoLynn Braley Show, then you can go to fearlessfatloss.com/contact and send us an email through our contact form, and we'd be happy to read that. That's no problem. All right. Shout outs. To get a shout out from me on the show, it's really simple. Go to thejolynnbraleyshow.com, click like to like our Facebook page, and you will get a shout out from me on an upcoming episode. I just use your first name. It's a lot of fun. It's a way to acknowledge you and say hello, and it's really easy to do. Once again, go to JoLynnBraleyshow.com and click like to like our Facebook page. If you are listening on iTunes, you can see how my name is spelled. If you're listening on another service, you should be able to see how my name is spelled. Just put all that together, theJoLynnBraleyshow.com. Click like on our Facebook page. You'll be all set. Okay, so what you learned today. What did you learn today? You learned that 90% of your problem is your mindset. You learn that when you are FAT, when you're fat on the inside, that you have to be fat on the outside. You learn that universal laws are the basis of everything. You learn that once you get in alignment with yourself on the inside and line up on the inside with the body that you want on the outside, then it will be very easy for you to live healthy and fit, to drop that fat and keep it off. You learned what motivation is. You learned that it's an outside force, and that's why it's never lasted. You learned that what you need to be and what you want to be looking for is inspiration, inspired action. That action, inspired action, is 100 times, 10,000 times more powerful. I can't even tell you how much more powerful inspired action is than forced action, forcing yourself to do something that you're not in alignment with. You learned why 95% of dieters fail. You learned why today on the JoLynn Braley Show, why the inner self diet always works. You learned what your next step is if you want struggle-free permanent weight loss in the least amount of time possible, and your first step to do that is to go to discovery-session.com and fill out that application for a complimentary weight loss discovery session. Okay, so be sure and head on over to the JoLynnBraleyshow.com and like our Facebook page. You'll get a shout out from me on an upcoming show. If you're subscribed in iTunes, go ahead and give the show a 5-star rating along with your 5-star review. Tell us in your review what your biggest aha is from the show. Next week's episode, How to lose 100 pounds by losing 1 pound like this. This is JoLynn Braley, weight loss mindset expert, certified master NLP practitioner, certified master coach, founder of the Inner Self Diet, and you have been listening to the JoLynn Braley Show. If you would just like to learn more, then go on over to Fearless Fat Loss. Go to fearlessfatloss.com/show-bonus and you can grab your free 5-day e-course to learn more about your mindset. And once again, you can do that at fearlessfatloss.com/show-bonus. Thanks so much for being with us here on the JoLynn Braley Show today. Here's to your best life in your ideal body.